Hey guys, what's going on? It is the one and only Sola, the legend. Sola, Sola. A lot of people call me Sola. It's really irritating. I shouldn't say it's irritating. I try not to let it irritate me, but it's like soda with an L. Sola. It's Sola, okay? Sola. It's not Sola. It's Sola, the legend. And if you can't say Sola, just call me legend. How about that? It was so much easier when I was Dr. Intimacy. Most people didn't get that messed up. But then people would call me Doc, and I really hated that. Oh my gosh, I couldn't stand that. I felt like they were Bugs Bunny talking to Elmer Fudd. What's up, Doc? Okay, I'm rambling because I really don't want to talk about what I came here to talk about. I don't feel like it, but I need to. So, this is my day 36 check in. I haven't been doing consecutive days any longer. I'm just coming on when I want to right now because I finished my 31-day commitment in May. Now we're in the month of June, and I definitely want to continue the momentum of doing these live check ins. So I'm just going to stay with whatever day it is, even though I may have skipped some days. I'm still going to stay in order of the day from like when I started on the first day of May, if I'm making any sense. Because I'm still doing the quick check ins on my social media on Facebook, now TikTok. I'm doing TikTok now too. Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. I'm still doing all of those check ins in consecutive um, daily order. So when I check in with these extended updates, I'll stay consistent with whatever day. Okay, these birds are rude. Excuse me. I'm gonna stay consistent with the coinciding number of my my quick daily check-ins. Okay, tea in my cup, immune and stress relief, yogi tea. Nothing else. Anyway, I think what going forward, what I want to do is have mental health Mondays. That sounds good, right? Mental health Mondays will make your life matter with Sola. Sola, no, Sola. Sola, the legend. Mental health Mondays will make your life matter. Sounds perfect. And it works because Mondays is when I have my therapy sessions. And I just finished therapy right now. It's 12:23 p.m. Eastern, June 5th, 2023, a Monday. And Mondays is when I do my therapy sessions. I started trauma therapy last month. I told you guys about that. Um, this was my third session. I did not do therapy while I was on vacation. I wanted to enjoy myself, and the therapy is really triggering. But the vacation was triggering because I was with my family that I haven't been back home in 7 years, so I don't see them often. I've seen them in the last 7 years, but I haven't seen them at home, and I haven't seen them frequently at all. I don't see them very much at all. My older sister, I haven't seen her since 2018, so it's been 5 years since I've seen her. And my younger sister, it's been almost 3 years since I've seen her. It's been about 3 years since I've seen her. So I don't see them that often. And I've seen my mother once in the last 4 years. I think I've seen her once. So that's how often I see them. But this is the first time that I've gone home in 7 years to actually visit with them home. So that was triggering. And that was the topic of discussion in my session today. So, Mental Health Monday. So, June is the Be on Purpose month. May was Mental Health Awareness Month. I have deemed June Purpose Awareness Month, especially since June is um, to me a time to really focus on your identity and your purpose is correct directly. I'm sorry that I'm so like today because these sessions be doing me in. But your identity is a really important part of discovering and defining and refining your purpose. And so June is a month that I think is a great time to think about your identity and your purpose. And I wasn't thinking about that when I deemed June Purpose Month. It just came to me moving from mental health awareness to purpose awareness. It's all connected. So every day I've been talking about just little nuggets on purpose. But being in peak emotional health is always going to be essential to being on purpose and being in purpose. And so, no matter what I'm talking about, I don't ever want to lose sight of that. So, in therapy today, I learned some important things talking about my family dynamic, which is definitely not the healthiest dynamic. It's painful. I've talked about how infrequently I see my family. I don't talk to them that much more than I see them. Now, my mom, she and I talk maybe a couple of times a month. My mom is, she's so energetic. She's such a light, like all this energy and light and my ability to talk and how I can just teach off the cuff. That is all my mom. I get that from her, hands down, 100%. She's amazing. She's been through a lot, and she's amazing. So don't let anything that I say concerning my painful family dynamic come across in any way demeaning or diminishing to my family because they're all amazing. My younger sister Mimi is so funny. She's just hilarious. She's strong and you know she's a great person. We don't have a great relationship, but it's not a reflection of who she is as a person. It really just speaks to the difficulty of our family dynamic and our backstory and our history. Same with my mom. Everybody loves her. I mean, she is the mayor of the town. When I was with her, she was taking me around, introducing me to everybody. Everybody just loves her, and she's such a light. And then my older sister is actually um, kind of famous across seas over in Europe. She's a funk soul singer. She's won a number of awards, had a bunch of number one hits over there. So she's really known overseas. She's a performer. So my love for music came directly from her. She's been my inspiration all life long. So this difficult family dynamic that I have, don't let it be a reflection of who these people are outside of me. They're wonderful people, well loved, very talented, beautiful, fun people. We just have a really difficult dynamic because of our backstory, because of what we've been through, and not enough healing has taken place, not enough healing dialogue has happened. Things have been suppressed and swept under the rug, and there's been finger pointing and blaming and misunderstanding, and it's led to a difficult, strained dynamic between all of us. Um, so it was really hard being back home, um, having to confront that. And it's not even like we argue, or it's not even that. It's not like we argue and fight. There's just this weird energy between us. It's an undercurrent of discomfort, of pain, of brokenness that is it's almost tangible. You could cut it with a knife. Nobody speaks about it, but it's there. It's always there. And so it's hard for me to talk today. It's hard, but I wanted to do this live, which is pre-recorded, by the way. So if you're leaving comments, I can see your comments because I usually watch these back with you, but I can't talk to you from the screen because this is pre-recorded. But I do see your comments. I'm in the comment thread with you. But if I don't shout your name out, that's why. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Henry. Last time he wanted to know why I didn't shout out to him because it was pre-recorded, Henry, but I remember. So shout out to you Shout out to Anthony Davis, who is always watching my lives. My husband, Otis Tucker, he watches most of my live, almost all of them. My friend Bishop Henri Banks is here most of the time during my lives. My friend Esther Jones watches most of them. My daughter, Nabaya Hanaya, watches most of them. So shout out to all of my faithful viewers. It's not a whole lot of you, but and if I missed anybody, it's because you don't comment. So if you don't comment, I don't know that you're watching. You better leave those comments. I'll shout you out next time. But this is pre-recorded, so I can communicate with you in the comment thread. But excuse me, I won't be able to respond to your comments here on the live. At any rate, I wanted to do this live right after my session while my thoughts were fresh, while my feelings were raw, and when I could be transparent. I don't like all the time when I come here after I've processed through things and I come here looking all empowered and well put together and polished because I've had time to sit with it and think about it. Sometimes I just like to heal out loud. I like to go through this transparent process with you, as working through the pain as I'm walking through it, just doing that live on camera. And that's where I'm at right now, which is why my speech is not as eloquent as it usually is. But I want to go over some of the things that I wrote down um, as I was explaining to her how I was feeling and telling her some of the things that happened during the trip that caused me to have an extreme triggered meltdown. I was screaming, cussing, crying. I ran away from the house. I can't run. Okay, don't take that literally because I cannot run. But I walked away very quickly and impetuously. We were coming back from a ride, and I was supposed to be going in the house with my sister, and I'm just bawling and having a breakdown. I'm like, there's no way I'm walking in the house like this. I had nowhere idea where I was in proximity to the rest of the city, but I literally just walked away and in slippers, no purse, just left, going nowhere. I had no destination. I just had something I wanted to get away from, nothing that I was going to. But I did end up walking to a destination, which, if you watched that live a couple of days ago, I think that was on May 30th. If you watched the live on May 30th, I did it live on location across the street from my first apartment that I had when I was 17, where quite a bit of trauma happened to me. So I did end up going somewhere, but it wasn't my intention when I first walked away. But I had a real meltdown. So I talked to my counselor about that today. And she was talking to me about triggers. And she said, triggers are all coming from the past. They belong in the past because it's something from the past that's being triggered. And what that means is that, and I've talked about triggers before during these videos. So if you want more information on this, I can direct you to some other videos where I went more in depth about what triggers are. Um, but triggers are, you overreact to something in the present because you're really reacting to something in the past. So let's say something happens that warrants a reaction, like a level 2 reaction, but you react at level 10. You're not reacting to what happened right now. You're reacting to what it reminds you of that happened in the past that was really traumatic. It was a big, traumatic, painful event. So maybe if somebody steps on your shoe, that's a level 1 offense. But if you blow up at the person and you're ready to fight them and kill them and go to jail over it, that's a level 10 response. Where is that response coming from? Um, Maybe you were bullied growing up and people used to step on your shoes and spit on your shoes or whatever, or even took your shoes from you. And even though that happened 20 years ago, now as an adult, when somebody steps on your shoes, it triggers this helpless feeling, this threatened feeling, this my life is in danger feeling that you had as a child. And so you respond from that place. That's the trigger. So you're not responding to the current thing that's happening, that somebody accidentally stepped on your shoe, or even if it was on purpose, like, so what? If they stepped on your shoe on purpose, so what? It's a shoe. It's not worth your life, their life. But you're not responding from that place of rationality, um, in the present insignificance of the circumstances. You're responding to what happened in the past when your shoe being stepped on meant emotional torment, it meant physical pain, it meant public humiliation. So you're responding from that place. And that's what a trigger is. A trigger is when you respond in the present to something that happened in the past. So now it's an unwarranted, inappropriately dramatic response to what happened, and everybody's looking at you like you're a nutcase because it's like, what the hell? Why are you tripping? But you're tripping over a trigger. You are tripping. You're tripping over a trigger from the past. So we were talking about that because I was definitely triggered and I went off. So we had to talk about what this past trigger is. And for me, it was the rejection. So EMDR therapy is, she said, it's about bringing you into the present moment. It's rescuing yourself. Deactivating that trigger is about rescuing yourself from this place in the past. It's bringing you into the present. It is connecting your visceral brain, which is your instinctive, repetitive, kind of primitive. So it's the primitive part of your brain that's on autopilot, that's on repeat, that operates through repetition. It's what they call muscle memory. When you see a comatose patient or patient in a vegetative state is able to move their eyes or move their leg, and it's just muscle memory. That's coming from the primitive part of your brain that does not require logic, or doesn't require thought to respond to things. It responds autonomously, out of instinct, out of repetition, out of muscle memory, out of signals that are sent to the body that are not processed in the logical part of your brain, the thinking part of your brain, your neocortex. And so to deactivate a trigger, you need to connect that primitive part of your brain to the other parts of your brain, your limbic system, which is the feeling part of your brain, and your neocortex, which is the thinking part of your brain, the rational part of your brain. You need to connect all three and help that primitive part of your brain that is on autopilot understand that what's happening now is not the same thing that happened then. That's how you deactivate this trigger. So deactivating painful family triggers is about dealing with the source or the root of the wound. So that's what she wanted to know. Like, what are you really responding to? Because my family lives in New York and I live in Georgia, and I'm the only one who lives here. I lived in Texas before, but I moved away from New York years ago. It's been 18 years now since I moved away from New York, and I moved here by myself. Um, and I haven't taken my family back to New York since I moved. Me and all my kids, we've been in the South ever since. We've never gone back. Now that was a lot because we broke. It's not that I wouldn't have gone back. Okay, I don't want to say it like I ran for my life from them and never looked back. It wasn't that. I just couldn't afford to go back. I went back a lot, but I couldn't take my kids back. I would have taken them back to visit if I could have, but not often. Like I was done with New York when I moved. But she was just helping me see, like you removed yourself from the dysfunction of your family dynamic. And so there's no reason for you to be sad that you're not a part of what they're doing because you left for a reason and you stay away for a reason. There's a reason that you don't call them more often, don't visit more often, don't reach out for more often, because there's a lot of dysfunction there. And for the sake of your own, and I'm paraphrasing, but this was the point of what she was saying. For the sake of your mental and emotional health, for the sake of yours, not only ability to survive, but to move on and thrive. You have to remove yourself from things that cause you to be dysfunctional. Okay, things that reactivate old triggers that you have deactivated. And so, I'm sad over something that I don't even want in my life. And that's what she was helping me to see, that you don't even want to be a part of that dysfunction. And then I said to her, "Oh, well, we used to be so close." Now, this is after I have explained to her a number of tragic things that happened in the past and how it's being handled in the present. It's not about what happened in the past. It's how they deal with it right now that's really disturbing. That things are not really being dealt with properly. Things are being suppressed, swept under the rug, overlooked. And I want to deal with things. I want to confront it head on. Like I really want to resolve it. You guys know I'm all about resolution, resolving past pain and issues. I'm not trying to pretend that it's not there or work around. I don't want to work around it. I want to get rid of it. You know, Trying to work around unresolved past issues is like this to me. I have an extreme, like a ridiculously extreme fear of cockroaches. And yes, there is a story behind that. I was tormented when I was a little girl, but never mind that. I have an extreme fear of cockroaches. Um, and if I kill one, if one is in the house, I'm going to kill it. I'm not going to sleep until it's dead because I'll leave the house before I go to sleep, with a cockroach in the house. But after it's dead, I won't clean it up. I'll just leave it there until somebody else can come and get it. And I remember one time when that hasn't been a problem in the past because there's always been somebody there to remove the dead body. And you're gonna love this. I'm going somewhere with this. But I remember when I moved into my new house in Atlanta when I first moved there, I was there by myself. My kids were in school and I didn't want to take them out of school. So I went ahead of them and got everything set up. And the house was infested with cockroaches. So I had to get the house exterminated and bomb it and get it under control. And so, there's dead cockroaches all over the house. When I left for a little while to do it. When I came back, there were all these dead roaches all over the place. I had an exterminator come in and remove all the dead bodies, so I was good. So I cleaned up the house really good, scrubbed everything, cleaned all the cabinets out, and I'm feeling at peace. So everything, I got my kitchen all set up, everything's looking beautiful. And I went in and I enjoyed the kitchen one day, ate breakfast and everything, and it's like, okay, I can finally enjoy my new house. And when I went down the next morning, there was a huge cockroach dead on the kitchen floor. So the pesticide was still working. I didn't have to kill it. It was already dead. But it was right in the middle of the kitchen floor. And in order for me to do anything in the kitchen, the way the kitchen was set up, it was kind of like in a U. And this cockroach was like right in the middle. So I have to maneuver around it no matter where I wanted to go in the kitchen, to the stove, to the sink, to the refrigerator, to the counter. I have to maneuver around this cockroach, and the kitchen floors were white, so the contrast was so stark. This beautiful, clean white floor and this dark, and then cockroaches are dark, and they get darker when they die by pesticide. It causes the bodies to darken even more. So you got this black, dead body, this decomposing body of filth and stench and bacteria. And the cockroaches are disgusting. They're little demons. So I got this dead demon carcass in the middle of my kitchen floor, right? And I won't pick it up, but I keep walking around it. And every time I go in my kitchen, I have to see it. So now, am I enjoying my kitchen? Of course not. I didn't want to go in there and eat. I didn't want to do anything in there. And so I called my husband, who was my friend at the time. We weren't married at the time. I'm on the phone with him and I'm telling him that this cockroach is there. And I'm like, I'm just going to leave it here until somebody comes over. And he's like, what? He said, you can't do that. And I'm like, I've never cleaned up a cockroach in my life. I can't touch it. I can't touch it. I'm crying. I'm literally crying. I'm like, I can't do it. And he's like, you can do it. He's like, I'm going to talk you through it. He said, go get a go get a broom and get this thing up. And so I'm on the phone with him, and it took me 15 minutes to sweep up this cockroach. Now, luckily, I had one of those long handle dustpans, and the brooms that the handle is long and the dustpan is on the floor, and you don't have to bend down. Is what I'm saying. I didn't have to bend down and the cockroach in my face. It was a long handle dustpan, so that helped. But I would run in there, move the cockroach a little bit toward the dust handle, and run away. And I'd come back and move it a little bit toward the dustpan and run away. And I did this over and over and over for 15 minutes until the whole body of this cockroach was finally on the dustpan. And once it was on the dustpan, I'm crying the whole time. The entire time I was crying. And he's still on the phone with me. And I'm like, I moved it a little bit more. And he's like, you got this. He's like, come on, go back, go back. And I'm like, I don't want to go back. What if it moves? What if what? It is I hate these things, but it's an insect. I'm probably 1,000 times bigger than it. Not only am I 1,000 times bigger than the cockroach, the thing is dead. It's like dead. And I'm terrified to just move it out of my kitchen where it is disturbing my peace and robbing me of my enjoyment and disrupting my whole environment. And yet I'm terrified of it. So I'm crying, and I just kept running back. And when I finally got it on the dustpan, I was like, it's on here, baby. I was like, it's on here. He's like, okay, good. Take it outside. So I felt a lot stronger once it was on the dustpan. It's like, I'm almost there. I just got to get it out of the house. So I picked up the dustpan and I ran toward the door, and I dumped it in the yard, like, flung it far away from the house. And afterwards, I'm just trembling. I was trembling, and I sunk to the floor. And I was just like, I did it. And ever since then, I've been able to clean up cockroach bodies. I still don't like it. Actually, I haven't seen one in a while. My house I get it exterminated regularly, so we don't have roaches. But after that, when I did see one, I was able to clean it up. Now, I don't if I don't have to. If somebody else is here to do it, I'm still not going to do it. But I can if I need to. And that's what unresolved issues are like to me. It's like leaving a dead carcass of something that's already dead. You already killed it. You already defeated it. I already defeated that cockroach when I hired an exterminator and I put the pesticide down. I did what I needed to do um, to defeat it. This thing is in my past now. It's dead. But I'm allowing it to disrupt my peace, disrupt my world, rob me of the enjoyment of my environment because I won't clean up the carcass, because I won't fully resolve it, because I won't deactivate it, because I won't remove it. And that's what unresolved issues are like. Those triggers. Every time I walked into the kitchen, I was triggered because I could still see the dead body. Well, what needed to happen is that I needed to remove it. See, I feel my help coming now. What needed to happen was that I needed to remove this thing, not suppress it, not hide it. You know what some people do? They'll take and what I used to do in the past, I would take a piece of paper and I would throw it over the dead body until somebody else could come and remove it. If I didn't want to see it, I would put a piece of paper over it or something so I don't have to see it. But I know that it's there. I still know that it's there. So we're not going to suppress it. We're not going to hide it. We're not going to work around it. We're not going to pretend that it's not there. We're not going to avoid that area of the house, because these are all the things that I would do in the past. I would avoid that area of the house. I would pretend that it's not there. I would cover it up. I would wait for somebody else to come and deal with it. But when I was in a situation where there was nothing I could do except deal with this issue myself, or I was going to be, you can't avoid your kitchen. How are you going to live? Am I just going to order out now? I'm just going to order out and never go into my kitchen again, never be able to use my refrigerator because I don't want to deal with this issue. And that's what triggers are like. That's what trauma is like. That's what pain is like. That's what family dysfunction is like. You have to resolve it. You have to deal with it. And that's the kind of person that I am. I'm about resolving issues. I'm about dealing with things. I'm about removing it so that I can reclaim my life, reclaim my peace of mind, reclaim my enjoyment. Um, you know, And whatever it takes to do that. My husband was he was, like I said, he was my friend at that time. And that's why he's my husband now, because he was my friend. My friend was there for me. But he was my therapist that day. He was my life coach. He walked me through the process of resolving this issue and removing it from my life. I killed it. I dealt with it by killing it. The getting the exterminator and putting the bombs out and everything was how I dealt with the issue. But then I had to remove the residue and get it out of my life. And what does that look like for you? What does that look like for you? Because what my therapist telling me, I was telling her, I was like, okay, I accept that this is where my family is at. That there's dysfunction and they don't want to deal with these issues, blah, 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 blah. Or they dealt with it in a way that works for them. And I accept that and I respect that. And I told you guys that when I did my live on the 30th. But what I said to her is, well, how do I deal with the pain now? Like, I'm left with this residual pain because I don't have a relationship with my family that I want to have. And I said, we used to be really close. And she was like, close how? She was like, how are we close? And I was like, well, we all used to do things together and we don't do things together anymore. And she was like, but to what degree? Because this is after I've told her all these things that happened. She's like, were you close? Really? Were you really close? And I'm like, well, and I started thinking back to some of the trips and the things that we did and how I really felt during those times and the arguments and how I came home crying a lot of times. Like, I really started to think about it. I'm like, no, I guess not really. And she's like, you weren't. She said, those are romanticized memories. I'm reading my notes now. Those are romanticized memories. Your ego makes you remember things the way you wanted them to be as opposed to the way they really were. The ego is what I call the hidden self. She said, you removed yourself from that dysfunction for a reason. And now you're remembering in a way that is causing you pain when that's not even really what it was like. And I'm like, wow. Wow. And I wrote a note. I said that the ego loves to remember things in a way that makes it feel valued. So I remember that the way that I wanted it to be, because remembering it, our relationship and our interactions and our dynamics from the past in a romanticized way creates the story that I wanted it to be. A story where I'm not rejected, where I'm not the black sheep of the family, where I'm not abandoned. But that's not how it really was. That's not the way that it was. It wasn't like that. It's not like that now, and it wasn't like that then. And this healed version of myself was not willing to tolerate the reality of the dysfunction that exists when we're together. And that's why we don't spend more time together. Because when we did spend a lot of time together, guess who initiated that? Me. That was me. I was the one who was always setting up trips and dinners and pulling everybody together. And it was like pulling teeth to get everybody to do something together. It was me. I was the one who was doing that. And when I stopped doing it, it stopped happening. And so I'm remembering something the way that I want to remember it when it didn't even exist, and allowing myself to feel pain over something that wasn't even real. And I gave it a name today. I call it ghost pain. She didn't say that. I came up with that. I was like, this is ghost pain. And we never even had what I'm claiming that I missed. It didn't even exist. I missed what we should have had, not what we really had. And so the hidden self, she called it the ego, but I call it the hidden self. The hidden self adds negative commentary to situations. So now I'm remembering something. It's just a fact, right? The memories, like what happened is what happened. That's just a fact. But the hidden self adds negative commentary to it. So, like for instance, they're all going on vacation without me in July. I wasn't even invited. I found out about it by accident, as a matter of fact. Wasn't even supposed to know about it. Wasn't discussed with me. So here I'm really sad about this. That's a fact, right? So that's just a fact. They're going on vacation without me. That's a fact. The hidden self adds the commentary. You're not loved. You're rejected. They don't want you. They chose him over you. So the hidden self starts to add all of this commentary to this is just a straight fact. But the hidden self, your lower self, okay, your lower ego, your ego self begins to add all of this negative commentary that makes it feel really bad. And this is what she was telling me. So now it's a problem. Now because of the negative commentary of your hidden self, this becomes a problem that you need to solve. So now I got to fix it. We got to have a talk. I got to figure out how I can go with them or write a letter or, whatever you start to rationalize in your mind needs to be done to fix what? Because had I been invited, I wouldn't have gone. And that's just fact. I wouldn't have went. And they knew that. And that's why they planned it without me. They didn't want to deal with the drama, even having the discomfort of having that conversation around. Because me, the way I am, is not only would I have not gone, I would have wanted to go. So I would have pushed the narrative of having a conversation around why I don't feel comfortable going. So I could have tried to resolve why I didn't want to go. They didn't want to deal with that. So that's why it was never even mentioned to me because I would want to be there with them, but I would only want to be there with them if all the cockroach carcasses are removed. I'm not gonna go and hang out with them with all these dead bodies laying around. We're gonna deal with the dead bodies and the triggers, okay? And the Darren, I can't remember the name of those bombs that they put in the ground that you step on and they blow up. Now I can't remember the name of them, but we're gonna deal with this. And so if they had invited me, there would have had to been some conversations that they didn't want to have. So that's why I didn't get invited. And my therapist is like, why are you sad about that when you know you wouldn't have went anyway? Like, this is true. And she said, this is just your ego, your lower self adding negative commentary, feeding itself to create a problem that doesn't really exist. The problem was resolved before it was ever created. You didn't want to be there and you weren't invited, so you wouldn't have to be there. Question asked, question answered. You never even had to deal with it. So why are you making this a thing? I'm like, hmm. So she said, the hidden self is always searching for something that doesn't exist to fix your brokenness. But that brokenness is in the past, it doesn't exist. The hidden self needs to be fed by feeling either superior or inferior, any extreme that creates false problems and drama. Right? So your ego wants constant attention, it wants to stay alive. And I wrote about this in my book, Suicidal Love. Man, I love it. Chapter 6, I talk about the hidden self. So powerful. So powerful. That is constantly feeding on negativity. And you got to shut it down. So she told me, going forward, don't allow my hidden self to feed me that negative commentary. The fact that they're going on vacation without me, that's just a fact. Don't add any commentary to that. Don't project any thoughts of abandonment or rejection onto that. It is what it is. I've created a life for myself that I love. I moved away from all of that. I stay away from it because it constantly causes me pain, blow ups, tears, drama. That's why I'm not there. And I made a life for myself. I am sitting on the porch of my home that I own with my husband, with my best friend that I live in with four of my seven beautiful children live here with me. They treat me like a queen. I'm never left out with them, never feel abandoned, never feel rejected. They embrace me, they love me, they take good care of me. I'm happy. I live in a beautiful home, beautiful neighborhood. I live in Georgia where I always wanted to live my whole life. I live in a house that I absolutely adore. I made a life for myself. I have a following of people that respect me, that receive me, that believe in me. I made a life for myself. Why would I subject myself to the constant pain and torment of trying to process why they don't receive me differently? Does it matter? It doesn't matter because they are who they are. They are where they're at. And it has nothing to do with me and the life that I created for myself. I forgive them. I love them. I have compassion toward them. And my heart is always open to receive them if they want to have a different level of relationship with me in the future. If they're willing to take accountability for what is causing the dysfunction between us, like I'm willing, and they want to have those talks, and they want to do the work to remove these cockroach carcasses from our environment, I'm open to that. But I don't have to push this false narrative that my lower self is feeding me. Yeah. So I'm glad I worked through this. This live started off rough, but it ended lit. Now I wish I was here so I could just answer some question with you guys. But let me tell you, when the live ends, because I'm about to end this, this is one of the longest ones that I've done. But when this ends, I can still see the comment thread. I'm sitting here watching this with you guys. So even though I'm about to end this live, I can continue to communicate with you in the commentary, in the comment thread. And if you want me to continue this conversation and dive deeper into this on my live tomorrow night or when I do it next, I'll try to do it every night, but I'm not promising that. But when I go live next, whether it's tomorrow or later this week, if there's something you want me to cover, I will. So just leave it in the comment thread. But this was good today. I feel good. I like Mental Health Mondays on Make Your Life Matter. I like Mental Health Mondays. So I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to move forward with this platform and what my consistency is going to be. So that's what just helped hit me. At the very least, we're going to have Mental Health Mondays going forward. So Mondays will be dedicated to mental health. We're going to have Mental Health Mondays going forward. And I'll probably just start going live in the afternoon, like during the lunch, excuse me, during the lunch hour on Mondays for Mental Health Mondays. And then I can rebroadcast it at night for those who weren't available. So let's set that up. My therapy sessions are at 11 a.m. on Mondays, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm thinking out loud now. So I finish at 12 Eastern. So 12:30. Let's just say, we'll say 12ish. I'll try to come on right after. I may need, looking at some cute twins across the street. But yeah, I'll try to come on right after my session is over. So sometimes it runs a little bit over and I got to get my thoughts together and everything. But let's just say around between 12 and 12:15 next Monday, I'll be here for Mental Health Mondays. Okay. Now I'll be back before then. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be here throughout the rest of the week. But for Mental Health Mondays, I'll be back next Monday live and able to communicate with you. I'll be here live so I can answer your questions live next Monday, 12:15 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So going forward, we're gonna have Mental Health Mondays until I say or feel otherwise. That's what's gonna happen. I don't know what other days I'm gonna go live. I think Thursday nights. I'm leaning toward Thursday nights as well. So maybe that's how it's gonna be right now. Monday afternoons, Thursday nights, and I want to do a morning one day of the week too. I want to pick one day of the week where I do mornings. So maybe Saturdays. I don't know, but we'll see. But I love you guys. That's it. This has been really good. This healing out loud today has been great. I just want to end by saying I really, really love my family, and I hope you that's coming through as I'm talking about them. I'm definitely not trying to drag them. They've been through a lot. We've all been through so much, and they are all incredible. They're all survivors. They've worked really hard to survive and make life matter for themselves in whatever way works for them. So I'm not dragging them. And my younger sister, if you guys watched my live on the 30th, I talked about what happened. And on the 31st, I said that she apologized to me, but the sound wasn't good on that live. And I don't know if you guys even heard me, but I want to let you know that that ended beautifully. She's in therapy too, so she's really working on herself. And I think there might be a lot of hope for she and I in the future to really cultivate some depth. So I'm going to see if it's safe to explore that down the road. I just need to finish dealing with me right now. But she's in therapy and she really apologized to me for what happened and embraced me and hugged me and told me that she loved me. And that meant a lot to me. It really, really did. And I think I'm going to say that again the next time in the beginning of the live because I know most people don't watch this deep in. So I'm going to say it again. I want to say it enough times for people to know that that happened because she did. She did a good thing, and I don't want to overlook that. And my older sister took me and my girls out to dinner, took us on a cruise, paid for everything. That was beautiful. My mom treated everybody. They made themselves as available as they could for where they're at. And I really need to emphasize that they love me the best way that they know how. It's loving out of brokenness, but they love me and they give what they can. And you just have to accept people where they're at. They give what they can give. Just receive it and get the rest of what you need from somewhere else. Get it from yourself, get it from your God, get it from your husband, your wife, your friends, your job, your public. Get little bits and pieces of it from wherever you can get it because no one anybody can give you everything. Nobody. Not even yourself. You can't even give yourself all of what you need. It takes a lot. So get what you can get where you can get it. So I love you guys. This is Sola the Legend. Remember, Sola. It's not Sola. It's Sola. Sola the Legend. Here on Make Your Life Matter. June 2023 is the Be on Purpose month. And today has been Mental Health Monday. So Make Your Life Matter. That's a lot of labels, isn't it? It's a lot. I'm so complicated. So complex. I love me though. I really, really love myself. I do. I'm in awe of myself and so proud of me. So I love you guys. This is Soul Out of Legend, day number 36. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow, the next day, at the very least Thursday. I'll definitely be here Thursday, if no other day. Mondays and Thursdays, I'm gonna be here if I don't come on any other day. So I love you guys, and until next time, you know what I'm gonna say. Only you can make your life matter.